It's into different ideas and proposals, and the message will develop over the course of the next 6 months, and we'll see what direction Iowans want to go. So I think that's the answer to your question.
I have a couple more questions, and then I will come out to the audience. Just raise your hand, and if you have any questions, and then I'll be right with you in one quick second. And I'll come to you, stand up, ask your question, but I have just a couple more here, and then I'll get to the audience. In January, we did this at the Cup Club, and we talked, and I asked for a couple predictions on numbers, and I really didn't get any numbers, which is fine. So I want to try it one more time. When come November, mid-November, where do you see the numbers shaking loose? Will the Democrats maintain the majority? Second part of that question is, do you see any kind of different shake-up or make-up of the leadership? And I'll start with Representative Paulson.
Well, as members of the leadership, my guess is that all of us up here will say we kind of like leadership the way it is right now. But so I don't know that I see anything in that. I mean, I'll tell you, House Republicans, we want to move back upstairs, and that's what we're going to go work towards that goal. Whether or not that can happen or not, I think proper foundation has been laid, but it remains to be seen who's going to be the Democrat presidential nominee, and how does that impact races a little farther down? Does Iowa end up being a battleground state? Do our candidates work? Do their candidates work? I mean, there's just way too many variables to make that prediction. But I don't think should make any mistake that our goal is to get back in the majority as well it should be.
Senator Brownsville.
Well, I'd say we have a historic opportunity in the Iowa Senate. I'm not going to give you a number.
Worth a shot.
But I would tell you, 60%. Well, that's what we have now, 30 out of 50. We've got 60% of the Senate now, and that's the highest we've ever been in the history of the state. As a matter of fact, there were times when we had as low as 2 members in the Senate. So we're at the highest we've ever been, and I will predict we will break that number. We'll be above that, and I'm confident that I'll be the majority. I'm confident Representative McCarthy will be majority leader. I would also tell you, I think Christopher Rance is in trouble. I think he's on his way out. I think that's pretty clear. I think he took his caucus down some roads last session, attempted to lock them up on silo. I think that was a mistake. Lock them up on an insurance bill, an obscure insurance bill, but he attempted to lock them up on that, attempted to lock them up on the cigarette tax, and he kept failing at that. I think Christopher Rance is on his way out. When it comes to Ron Wick, he's a nice guy. He got elected by a 1-vote margin in their leadership battle, and 5 of the people that voted for him have announced they're retiring. So I think on both the Republican Senate side and the Republican House side, I think there's a real question about who the next leader will be.
Well, on our side, I can speak confidently that Senator Wick will return as leader after the session. One of the things that certainly was very public over the past couple of years in the Senate Republican caucus was dissension, and Senator Brownsville is correct that the vote in the middle of that dissension was very close. However, this session, I think as everybody can testify, the Republicans came together and instead of just squabbling among themselves or doing what I say is called problem identification, we actually proposed comprehensive alternatives that the Republicans in the Senate backed and promoted among our Democratic colleagues. I wouldn't make a big prediction again as the upcoming election. I know if you serve crow, you're always in danger of eating it, so I'm not going to make any bold number predictions, but I feel good at a time when the national media is saying, well, the Republican brand is not doing that well, that we have a strong recruiting class in 24 out of the 25 seats, and that the candidates are legitimate leaders in their community, that they have some issues that they've been inspired by in order to run on, and so we feel very good about our prospects of winning some significant districts in this upcoming election.
There's a number of factors that go into, I think, win or lose a seat, whether it's competitive or not. Some of the things that we can look to with some positive hope on the House side for Democrats are, one, what kind of candidates do you have? We've got the best recruiting class we've had, so that's something good, people that really match their districts locally. One candidate, for example, we had him go through the voter list to kind of get an idea on how many people that he may know in his district, and he came back with 6,000 people he identified as either friends or family members. And we've had a heart attack, and he knew that many times. So we've got some good candidates. Next, as Senator Angelo just mentioned, the Republican trademark right now. The name Republican is really diminished with the voters nationally and in Iowa right now. It's not really something that's in good standing. In large part, I think, because of Bush's popularity. We're neck deep in the Iraq war. We will be 6 months from now when the elections happen. Something we hope we're not in, but that's something that Republican trademark that is helpful to us. Next is the uptick in voter registration. We picked up 63,000 more Democrats on the rolls now in Iowa, and particularly in our swing districts, where we win or lose seats by a couple hundred votes. We have over 1,000 Democrats in many cases per House district. So somebody may say, well, Kevin, not all of us may vote for your candidate. Let's say only, maybe 300 don't vote, and we get an extra few hundred to vote for our person. That's a tsunami. That is huge in our targeted districts. Windsor Heights and Clive, that's a legislative district, that's an open seat. We have the mayor of Windsor Heights running. His co-chair is the mayor of Clive. It's a district that has been about 49% Democratic. Just picked up 1,200 new Democrats in that district since the caucuses. So that's some signs that give us some hope. And then lastly, on fundraising, we raised $1.1 million last year for the House Democrats. The Republican raised $769,000. We hope that trend continues on fundraising so we can fully fund our races. Given that, I said that I will press. I actually did say a number, and it's not to eat crow. I'm willing to eat crow if we fail to reach our goal. But we have a realistic goal of 62 seats. There's a roadmap based upon our open seats. Representative Schickel's seat, for example, up in Mesa City is almost 60% Democratic performing. We have a high-quality candidate in America, and Bill Schickel's retiring. There's other seats that are similar to that, 58.5% Democratic performing seat. But I'm not going to feel bad if we fail. I'll buy Craig Paulson a steak dinner if we only get to 57. But I think it's highly likely we'll maintain the majority and we'll pick up seats. But our goal is to really shoot for what we think would be parity with the Senate. And 62 seats would be parity with the Senate. If we fail and we only get to the mid to high 50s, I'll move on.
I guess I'll have to work harder.
Would you accept that steak dinner?
Oh, I'll show up. In fact, I'll start thinking about where we're going to go.
Why have you real quick?
Let me just go back one thing. I guess I can't speak to all the things that Senator Gross so much about Chris Rance, but I must have missed that cause.